Hello, trumpet players. In this video, we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about this year's Texas All-State Jazz auditions. Because of COVID-19 hysteria, the auditions this year are remote, meaning that you're not going to go to the audition. You're going to record this stuff on your phone or on your laptop or on your iPad. And, you know, that's a whole different ball game from normal auditions. And, I'm not in favor of this audition, right? The way they're doing it is open to a lot of cheating. I can think of really, literally dozens of ways to cheat. So no, I don't like this. In the normal auditions, they go a long, long way towards making sure that the auditions are fair. And I don't see that happening with this process. But that's not what this video is about. We're going to talk about this one trap that you can fall into. A trap that happens to recording musicians earlier in their careers. It's something that you have to learn how to deal with. And it's even worse, really, if you think about it, for people who are recording on their own. What am I talking about? I'm calling it in this video, I'm calling it greed. Because it really is a type of greed, okay? But before we get into that, let's talk about why I feel qualified to talk about this. So I've been recording professionally. My first jingle was when I was about 19 years old, maybe 20 years old, I think 19. I did a commercial for Budweiser. And that commercial ran for a number of years in Mexico. And if I'm not mistaken, Jose was on the album, on the recording in the commercial. But I've been recording regularly since then. And now that I have my recording set up here at home, I'm doing even more recording than I ever did in my whole life. So I practically live this recording stuff, and that's what you're going to be doing for your audition as you're recording. It's the same thing as when we do a take for a project, right? And there's a lot involved there. And this trap that I'm going to talk about is something that I've learned to conquer. And most of it's mental, but we'll get into that. And the other thing is that I've been teaching since 1980, and most of you guys who are watching this already know that. But in case someone's watching this that has not heard me say that, I've been teaching since 1980. That's 40 years of teaching private lessons. And yes, for that whole time, I've been teaching people how to compete in All-State. This year is very, very different. Very different. All right, so let's jump into this. What do I mean by greed? What do I mean by greed? So in your recording, you know what they did? So I went through this with one of the students yesterday. So now I know the process. I've been waiting, and I ask my students, and I ask the other student, and I ask, I've been waiting. Someone tell me, how is this going to work? And finally, yesterday, one of the students brought it in. And I don't think it's an app. I think it's a website. And you go to the website, you click record, and after you do the recording, you can listen to it and decide whether or not you want to keep it or not. Then you have to either reject it or submit it. Once you submit it, you can't go back and do it over again. Okay? Very much like doing a recording session. very much like a recording session. So all the same psychological stuff, all the same physical stuff comes into play. Now, as much as I don't like that they're doing it this way, there's a lot of stuff in life that I don't like, and we have to do it anyway. Sometimes I wonder if I should even mention that I don't like something, but it's if you just keep your mouth shut, then nothing ever changes, right? So that's why I say stuff. I think this is a terrible way of doing auditions, a terrible way. Mainly because of the cheating, right? But yeah, anyway, let's not get into that. Okay, so what does it mean to be greedy in this context? We're doing a recording for all state or all region auditions, and so you make your first recording and you listen to it and you say, do you know what? I know I can make all state. That's not going to make me all state. So you do another one. And maybe that one's a little bit better, maybe not, maybe, but it's not enough. So you try again. And the way it looks is you're maybe getting a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, but at one point it starts to go the other direction and it gets worse and it gets worse and it gets worse and it gets worse. And I have seen this, not in auditions. I've never seen auditions like this before, but I have seen this in the recording studio where the musician, not me, I don't remember ever having this, but I have seen where the musician totally breaks down. We're talking about absolute crash and burn scenario where the guy can't even play the horn anymore. I think it's a thing of panic, and you're going to have panic, right? So the student I was working with yesterday, his recordings have to be in tomorrow. And I can just imagine in my head how many people are waiting to the last minute because that greed is really in there. They really, really, really want to make all state, or they really, really, really want to make region. And what's coming out of their horn just isn't good enough. That's the greed I'm talking about. They want something better than what they have. And yes, we do see this in the beginning days when someone first starts doing recording sessions. We see this a lot. Um, Not necessarily professional recording sessions. If this happened in a professional recording session, they would tell you to leave and not come back, right? But not all recording sessions are like that, right? There's times when you can hire the room and the engineer. And I think that's when I've seen this happen the most is when, let's say, a group I play with is a leader, and I'm not going to name names. This would be not nice. The leader hires a recording studio. We go in there, we play, and yeah, that's when you're going to mostly see this kind of desperation, this greed too, because in that scenario, right, you're paying money and you want the best product that you can deliver. Um, but it creates this trap that you fall into where you keep saying to yourself the next one will be better. But there's it's not just for the trumpets, it's not just the fatigue that sets in. Yes, that's part of it. That's certainly part of it. The lips start to get tired and you can't deliver the way you were delivering. I had a disastrous recording session one time. Now, this wasn't a panic situation. It wasn't a greed situation, except that it might have been greed on the part of the producer. But the producer kept stopping me, making me start again, stopping me, and it wasn't because I couldn't play his part. Not initially. It was because he kept changing what he wanted. Make it short. No, make it long. Make this note short. Make that note long. He kept switching it up. Um, and there was no time for rest between his thing. I didn't realize that that was my responsibility. Now I see that now as my responsibility to stop the producer and say, "Hey, you're gonna you're gonna ruin my chops if you keep doing that." That's my responsibility. I didn't know that back then. But yes, this guy pounded my chops into the ground. I couldn't play for like 2 weeks after that. I'm not exaggerating. It was the only time my lips have been as messed up as that was this one time I accidentally popped myself in the lip and it swelled up like that. This one producer had the same effect because he didn't really know what he was doing. And that's not, I'm not blaming him. That's my fault. I should have informed him that he was dangerously close to ruining my chops. Right? But so yeah, it's not just physical though. There's this downward spiral of emotions that you start to experience as you begin to realize that maybe this wasn't going to be as perfect as you thought it was going to be. And so there's the last of those emotions is panic. You have only a little bit of time left and you still don't have all that perfection you were expecting. And that's when things get really, really desperate. So what can you do about this? How do you avoid this scenario where everything spirals out of control like that? Number one is to slow down the process. Don't keep trying to record, reset, record. Slow it down. Play the etude, record it, listen to it, maybe massage your lips a little bit, do some deep breathing to help keep you calm. Sing and finger the etude. Then when you're relaxed again and you feel like you're ready to go again, try again. You know, one of the things I say in my blog about this is that if you don't get your perfect take in 10 tries, there is no perfect take. Let that sink in. If you don't get it in 4 tries, you're not capable of a perfect take. And you have to let that sink in. I'm kind of jumping ahead there, right? Doing it a little bit out of order. That was one of the last things I said in the blog. So that falls in the category of don't be greedy. Be realistic. Let the judges hear what you really sound like. And you'll end up sounding better than this greedy person that has to keep trying over and over and over again 30, 40 times, and in the process getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Okay, so that's 2 things. Slow down, slow the process down. Don't be greedy. Stop trying to be perfect. I don't like the word perfect anyway. We've talked about in some of the videos. I don't like the word perfect. The word perfect has a negative impact on your musicianship. There's nothing functionally positive about, or practically positive. Those are nice words, right? Functionally or practically positive about that word perfect. Nothing good about it whatsoever. We don't strive for perfection. We strive in my studio. We strive for familiarity. We strive for experience. The more you practice, the more familiarity and experience you have. And you want to, another word for it is maturity. We strive for maturity. We do not strive for perfection. So that's number 2. Stop being greedy. Number 3, I'm doing them out of order. Number 3 is just have some fun. Okay? This is a messed up audition. I'm telling you that. I'm not afraid to say it. If you consider just how many different ways people can cheat, it doesn't make sense to take it that serious. And even without going into that, without even looking at the cheating, there's other reasons not to take this serious. Have you heard what a recording sounds like on your phone or laptops? Sometimes laptops are even worse than the phones. Have you heard what that sounds like? You gotta be kidding me. Right? That's what the audition is? So don't take this overly serious, okay? Have fun with it. You've got an opportunity to express yourself. You have an opportunity to um, enjoy this music. And I'm not saying that because I wrote it. Don't, that sounds weird, right? People talking about enjoy the music when you're the one that wrote it. That's not what I mean, okay? Um, you can enjoy the experience instead of making it some kind of competitive thing, because it's not competitive. It's more like playing the lottery. And in fact, I've been telling people for years that auditioning for All State, auditioning for All Region is just like playing the lottery. It has no bearing on your value as a musician. Absolutely no value. And that's even more true now when you consider the cheating and when you consider the fact that the recording quality is going to be awful. Okay? The recording quality, I mean, all the judges are going to be able to check is whether you're getting the right notes and the right rhythms. We don't know what kind of software is built into the computer or the phone or the iPad that will control the volume, and the volume will control your not just your dynamics, but your style. So there's no way for a judge to know when they listen to your recording if that style was you or if that style was the phone, right? So all that work that you put into being this great trumpet player is for naught. It's a waste of time now. If you look at it that way, if you're being competitive, stop being competitive. Have some fun with it. Enjoy the experience. That's number 3. If you got any questions about any of this, please feel free to ask down in the comments, or you can go to the blog. And, you know, I'm not trying to be negative about this. I'm actually trying to help you be positive. I want you to try to avoid that trap, that greed trap. And I want you to, don't take the audition so seriously. If you make it, we're going to celebrate. If you don't make it, it doesn't mean anything. It has no bearing on your value as a player. All right. That's what I have to say on this. God bless you. And we'll see you on the next video. And good luck with these auditions, all right? See you next time.